Hi crafters, well welcome back to my channel. This is where we left off. We finished this off and now we're going to go to our next two pages and our flapper in here. So starting off with that, what I have is these pages, getting ready to put these together. So what I decided I wanted to do on this is I wanted to put a waterfall on here and a pocket on as well. And I'm holding it down with a magnet. So let's talk first. We've got our base page, and the base page on here again is, where's my ruler? My base pages. This is 7 7/8 by, I believe, 7 7/8 by 9 1/8. That is our base pages, or pattern paper pages, because this is a 9 1/4 the length normally. So what we're going to do is we are going to be putting this down onto this page. I did cut this a little bit shorter, and the reason why I cut it a little bit shorter is really because the fact it was a leftover piece of black cardstock, so I decided I was going to use it just the way it is. So this is 9 inches by 4 1/4. So then each one of these flaps on here, ooh, I didn't close that, I didn't glue that one in yet, is 4 1/4 by 4 3/4. And the reason why this is 4 3/4 is because you're going to score at 1/2 inch in order to make your flaps. And on here, I ended up just using the 4 by 4 cut aparts. So you can make them 4 1/4 or make them 4 1/8, however you prefer to do that. So I have all of those put down and match them up. I just make sure I have this one down straight, and then I match the rest of them going down onto here. Then what I want to do on the bottom of this page is I want to take and put a pocket on the back, and that is actually going to go down right onto here. I know you can't see that very well, it's because of the black, but we're basically going to be putting it down just like this. And I would have put it over this, but because of our string on there, or ribbon, I'm not going to be able to put that down underneath the actual pattern paper itself. But that's okay, because this is how I normally do it anyways. We're just doing something a little bit different this time around with how we're doing our pages. So I'm going to make sure that I get this to the bottom and matching this up to the side, and I will put a tag into the inside of this. And then I wanted to show you, this is a piece of my chipboard, and on the back of it I put a magnet, and then I just cut out a black piece onto the back so that it wasn't showing, and the other magnet will fit to the back of this card. I'm just making sure that I'm going to be making it loose enough that when this gets filled up, that we should be good to go. So my other magnet, what did I do with it? It's right here. So let me see if I can get that on there. Okay. Gotta make sure I have this up high enough, but not too tight. But I wanted to have a little bit of this like a twine feel. I thought it looked nice for this type of mini album. So this is going to fit right about there. And let's just get that down and in there. I'm going to use this tape because of the way the magnets are sitting. Let's just make sure that everything sits in there fine. Yeah. There we go. So that's how it's going to sit in there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to glue this down. I'm putting this to this end of the page, or to the inside of the page, I guess I should say. And the reason for that is because I feel like the outside of my pages are getting a bit bulky. So I want to make sure that I even off the pages a little bit. Now, the other thing that I'm going to do is I am only going to be gluing the top piece, the top and the bottom, so that, and then around this side, so that this can also act as a pocket if we would like it to. So, oh, let me cut. Don't need this excess here. This is being held down back here with some score tape. Okay. Well, I put that on upside down, but it's not going to matter because this paper doesn't have a direction. So there you go. Some things are... Oh, shoot. Oh, shoot. That is not going to work. Sorry, folks. Just realized something. I want it to the inside and I was gluing it incorrectly. Okay, so this is the top of our page, or inside of our page, so I need to glue along here and here. I'm so sorry. But the good news is that it's something that we caught and I didn't ruin it. But the other side of it is that it wouldn't have mattered that much if it went on the other side. It just was really more my personal preference. So maybe I should call my channel from now on How to Fix Those Mistakes. I think I do a good job at that. And you know, they say that if you don't make mistakes, you can't make new discoveries. So this works really well because we've got this great, this inside here, and I can use one of the cut-aparts, or I could even put, let me see if I can find a cut-apart. You know, if I could find a cut-apart, I'm using this for something else, but, you know, even using a cut-apart in here, I wonder why that's sticking down so tight. I think I glued that a little too tightly. Yeah, so there you can put a cut-apart into there, and that would work well. All right, so for right now, that's all I'm going to do, because I may end up putting photos on here, or I could put some other items such as recipe cards. So let's get this put back together, and then what we're going to do is we're going to glue in this page. Hope everybody's doing well this morning. I'm hoping that in this tutorial we will get through all of the pages, and then the only thing that I'll have left to do is to do tags and some embellishing so that we can do the final walkthrough. I'm going to turn this. Get that all down. Let me lift this up and make sure we're getting that pressed down well. And I may come back and do photo mats on the back of that. I'm not 100% sure if I am going to do that or not, but that's how this page sits. And like we said, there's a pocket in here if you'd like to use it as a pocket. Otherwise, there is plenty of room for other pictures or photos on that page. Then the next page that we have, I have the page done for the flap, but I'm going to do that last. And then let's go ahead and let's do this page. And what we're going to be doing for this page is again, we have our base page. We have a flip on here, and this flip, I cut 2 of them. Okay, I thought I wrote the measurements on there, and I didn't. Where's my, here it is. So this is, again, using up my scraps. So this is just under 12 inches, just a hair under 12. And the reason for that is so that I could have a little bit right here. And you're going to score at 1/2 inch. So you want 2 of these that are 12 inches or just under 12 by 3 3/4 is the width. So there's 2 of those there. And then you need to cut 2 of these. And this is 3 5/8 by 6 1/8. So that, and you're going to score at 1/2 inch. And let's put before we put any of these on, let's go ahead and let's get our pages put onto this page so that we can put things together. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to have one on this side, which is the double flap, and one onto this side. And I want to measure that. Let me just see. I think I want to do that at least 1/2 inch, maybe 1/2 inch. I'm just going to measure that off so I can make sure I'm pretty close to that. 1/2 inch on there and 1/2 inch on here, so that I'm going fairly even with those. So I'm going to put this one down, and let me just take a look at how this other one's going to look. That's going to be good. So I'm going to match this up with this line right here. Make that 1/2 inch. You can miter the edges on this, but there's really not a need to have to do that because of nobody's going to see this other side. So I'm going to do that, and then let's get this one on here. And both of these are double flaps. And, oops. So we've got our double flapped ones on here. And the reason why I'm putting these down first is we are going to use our single flaps and a magnet to hold them down. So those are going to go across there. And then this is going to come across here in the center of that. But yeah, that probably will be. I just wanted to make sure that I was getting these onto the right side. I'm going to burnish these well so they stay down. Seems like I keep getting this book in the way. Actually, I can take this out of here for now because I've got everything ready. So we are going to be putting this one right here and this one right here. I think I have a crooked eye or something, because it's funny how I look at these things sometimes and I think I'm so straight on, and then I try to put this together and it doesn't feel like it's straight on. So I don't know if it's just I have a crooked eye or the way I hold it, or maybe it's really crooked and I'm just not seeing it right. It's very possible. Like that. And again, I'm trying to use, yeah, this is a little off, but it's okay. I'm not going to worry about that so much because I've got my other pieces cut. Basically, what I wanted to do is to give me areas for me to put some pictures down as well as recipes behind them, or just giving me some other opportunities to move these items around. So these are going to go down onto these flaps, and we're going to hold those flaps down. And I made sure that with each of these cut-aparts, I did cut them down to fit onto the black mats. So I believe the cut is 3.5 by 5.5, but you're going to have to test it out for what color or, you know, how you cut your mats, how, you know, how thick or wide you're cutting them. Do that, and then this one. Alrighty, got that right side up. And we've got that, and we've got that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my smaller magnets for this because it's a little bit of a closer connection. And hopefully those will work just fine. And that we won't need the bigger ones. I like to use the different sizes if possible, or when possible. So I think I'm going to take this and put it more towards the end so that it stays tighter across it. And we'll put that onto there. And then putting that onto the end that holds that down. There we go. So we've got that on there and that on there. That'll hold that down. So let's, I'm gonna put this one on here. We'll hold that down, and once we get our paper on the back and on here, we'll be all good. So that's our next page. All right, so let's go ahead and let's get that into our album, and then we're going to work on our flat page, or our booklet page. So I'm going to just turn this sideways. I lost my glue. Then we really only have a couple of pages left, and we've got all our pages in, and like I said, so I can get the embellishing done, and we will do a walkthrough. Down and in, this down and in. All right, so we've got that page in. Then the next one is our booklet page, and I've got some of that put together already. This is our, what did I do with the booklet? Here it is. So this is our page that is going into our pocket page here. Goes right in here. And this is going on top. And again, we're going to work on the insides of these later. I'm not even sure if I'm going to have them done for the walkthrough, because I may wait to finish some of these inside ones off till I get the, like the pictures and some of the recipe cards. And it's beautiful to put and fill all of this in and make it look exactly like you want it to, but sometimes it's really nice to have these open pages so that you can work on them separately, and that you can put you can make them work for the pages that you have. So I have a base page here for this booklet, and I cut this plain piece of cardstock at 7.5 by 8 7/8. So that is actually going to go down onto here. Before we do that, I'm going to take this belly band, and I cut the belly band pieces at 9 7/8 by 3 3/4. And this 9 7/8 is so that I had extra room for the the scoring for the ends of these. And I made them a little bit 1/8 inch bigger because of the fact that it needed to go around the page. So my pattern paper on the front of here was 8 3/4 by 3 5/8. And we are actually going to put this belly band in and around to the outside of this page. Do I want to do that, or do I Now I'm thinking I might want to do that to the inside because of, nope. I'm going to do this to the outside of the page, and I will show you the additions that we're going to be adding to that as well. So we'll put this down, make sure it's straight, and I'm just going to get my glue. I hope I'm not off camera on any of this, so I apologize if I am. Not trying to. Put that down on there. And then what I wanted to do was to expand this out just a little bit. So I'm going to take this piece of, okay, did I get that crooked or is that just me? No, it's fine. See, I tell you, I think I have a crooked eye. So I'm going to put this down onto here, and then I want to put this onto here. So this gives it a little bit of color and pattern. This gives it a little bit, you know, of a picture, but I want to be able to have this open so that I can put a tag into there. And then this is the belly band underneath. We can put a booklet underneath there as well. The other option is, actually, the other option is that, what if I even took this and, maybe I will. I'm actually going to do that, I think. So this tag was cut at 4.5 by 7. So, and then I just cut out some of the pattern paper. And the pattern paper was 1/8 of an inch smaller. And then this one was cut at 4 1/8 by 6 1/8. And then that just matched around onto this cut. So I decided I want to make this a flap. Even though at first I wasn't going to. Let's see if this will work. Yep, I think this will work. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a hinge for that. And I'm going to use this little piece of paper, even though I've got a cut on that. Not a cut, but a miter on that. And then let's put this see, now that was crooked, and that was, I'm starting over. Oh my gosh. Sometimes, yeah, this is, four and a half by 7. So let's just start from the beginning, okay? One inch. See, this is why I don't do all my cutting and piecing together while people are watching, because I go back and forth on different things. So I cut a piece at 1 inch, and then I'm going to go back and cut this at 4.5, and then I'm going to score this at 1/2 of an inch. So I'm going to score it in half so that I can make my hinge. And make this so that this hinge fits onto here. I am going to miter the corners of this because of the fact that it's also on the back of this tag. So I'm just going to do the miter on both corners, even though it's not absolutely necessary on the back one. But this will fit better onto our tag. And so we're going to fit this onto this side of our tag, glue that on. So then we can glue it down to our base page. Make sure I've got that facing the right way. I've got my doors up. My doors are up. Okay. Thought I was doing something wrong. Oh, come on, glue. Be nice to me. Again, I need to wash my glue tips again. I have about 3 or 4 bottles, and the reason why I do is because I hate washing the glue tips. So once one gets full, then I just move on to the next bottle. So we're going to put this down and match it up to the edges of our tag. So we're going to do that. So then what will happen is this will get glued onto here, and we can then put a booklet underneath here and get to it much easier than if we had left it flat down. So I'm going to put this, let me just make sure this is how I want this. Yep. Okay, so we've got this to this side. I'm going to glue that to the back of here. And now, the one thing that I think that I need to put a magnet on this, but I'm going to use a thicker magnet because it's got to go through the back or through this page here, and just want to make sure that I'd rather have a magnet So if we have that magnet on the back, then we can going to put 2 pluses because then the glue from that will stay on the glue from this. We just have to do that again. And what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to put some tape on the back of here. Where's my tape? So it's stuck down really, really good. All right. So we've got that like that. And then we're going to put this on here. And I want to leave room for a tag in here. There we go. I think that's good. Let me put mark this, otherwise I'm not gonna, because I'm gonna put my glue, I think, down onto here. So I want to put my glue along here, and I can erase those pencil marks. when I am done. But that'll help me get it on the right spot for the tag. How about that? Is it straight? Yep. It's on straight. So then we've left that open for a tag to go right in there. And this will lift up and off. Well, we can be able to put a booklet inside here or a recipe page. And then this is all going to go onto this flap page. And before we put that down, I'm going to take this tape off so that we have even more stick on the back of it. Hope you're enjoying your summer so far. I think we're finally getting some sun here in Wisconsin. Yeah, I keep listening to some of the other crafters that are like in Montana area, and they're still getting snowstorms, or out in Denver they had snow. It's so unbelievable that they're still seeing snow. At least to me it seems so unbelievable. Even here in Wisconsin, we don't see snow quite that late. So I'm going to put this down onto our page. Let's lift that up. So there we go. So we've got this underneath here, and these we will finish off for sure, either with some of the leftover papers or with God, I just feel like I do see crooked. Goodness gracious. Okay, so then that's done. So we have 4 pages left to do, which is including the back cover. And I will get working on these. And we are either going to do this green one or we're going to use this blue one in here. I haven't quite decided. But they both work well. I may use the green because of the fact that I've used so much blue that I need to maybe get away from, do another green in here. Here's some green. Well, I guess I haven't used that much, but we'll get going on to our next 2 pages. So I will be back when I have those ready to go and show you how we've got those put together as well. We've got the 2 base pages and then a 3rd base page for over here, and this last one for the back cover. And on the back cover, I believe I'm going to do an envelope again, or I may even do some couple different pockets in there. But we'll see once we get to that point. I might even just put a frame on the back of this, so we'll see. Alrighty, see you in a bit. Thanks so much for spending your time with me right now, and we'll get going on this. Thank you. Hi crafters, so this is where we left off in our book, and we've got our page right here, and this comes up here. I just put these tags into here, and we're gonna finish filling all of that in. I wanted to go ahead and I did these other pages, one because this one is the same as this one over here pretty much, and this one because I've never done it before, and it still isn't really perfect. It's similar to what I wanted it to be, but not perfect. So I want to show you what I did. I can give you the measurements and everything, but I didn't want to do a tutorial on it because I'm going to have to change it and figure out a better way of doing it. It works for this book, but it's not really something that I would have done as a tutorial. So this flap here is 6.5 inches by, let's see, it's very, very thick, by 8 3/4. So 8 3/4, so you would have to do 9 1/4 so that you would have a hinge to go down here. But basically what I wanted to do with this is I wanted to be able to do a flap in here where I could put in pictures or recipes, and it didn't work exactly how I wanted it to. Two things is, number one, I made these too wide. I think I needed to make them a little bit more narrow. Number two is they kept sliding all the time, so I ended up, let me see if I can give you a view. I ended up putting these hinges in here, and I think I probably would do it different the next time, but I wanted to make it so that it worked and fit properly. So it works, but it doesn't work as well as I would like it to, and it's something I'm going to have to work on to see if I can get a tutorial going for that. I have also a magnet up here, which I need to cover over, and a magnet down here. I wasn't sure how I was going to close this all down, and that's why I have it that way. And I thought this was a really interesting take on this type of format in here. I've seen a lot of people do you know, pop-ups and different things like that, but I thought this would be cool to do a file thing. But my pieces that I put in here kept sliding, and so that it kept sliding, so that then they were coming out of here. And so that's why I decided to do the hinges on the underneath. So again, I will do a tutorial on that sometime, and maybe I'll just do it as a page in and of itself and share it with everybody. But right now it didn't work out exactly as I thought. But I ended up doing a page over here, and this is pretty much the same as I did for this one over here. So I didn't necessarily think you wanted to watch doing that again, but I like the way that this looks, and it's going to be covered over by our flap, so it's not going to be like that evident that this is on top and this is on top. So what I ended up doing here is I made this a little booklet, so that closes like that. I've also taken this and left this open, or pretty much open, so I can slide things in there, or I can put a picture or a mat on there. And then we have another magnet on here going over this, and then this is the belly band again. So this all closes down. So just to give you some basic measurements, my measurements for this flap is 7 inches, so it would be 7.5 because I needed to have a hinge on there. This is one of the cut aparts from the, what are they, the 3x4s, and so I made this matte booklet. This is 3 3/8 by 4.5. So really, if we're going to say 4.5, then 8, 9, it would be 9 inches in order to put that in half. And then again, this is just the whole length of this page. So this was, let me just make sure I've got that right. So this was 9 1/4, so it would have been 10 1/4. And the one thing that I did for this belly band is I made it 10 1/4, and then when I scored it at 1/2 of an inch, and then on this other one I scored it, I did it at 1/2 an inch, but then I went inside 1 I think it's 1/16. So it's, so what is it? Quarter of an inch is 4/8. So no, that's not right. So just go in a little bit from your quarter of an inch and you will have, it'll fit around that piece of paper pretty good. So the next thing that we wanted to do is working on our flap. And I've got those pieces right here. We're going to do something really, really simple for our flap page on here. And the reason for that is because there's so much bulk on there. And I want to just make this flap very simple. And so I will show you what we're going to do on that. Let me move this out of the way. And all right, so here's our flap. Here's our other pieces. I have a solid piece of the solid cards, and this is 7.5 by 8 7/8. And it's going to go down onto here, but before we do, we're going to put a pocket on that. And the pocket I cut is cut at 8.5 and then scored 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch. And this is 3 3/4, and it's scored at 1/2 inch. Now you can punch along here if you would like to make that you know, oh, I already cut my paper. I think I'm going to do that anyways, and we will just adjust that paper to the Have any of you ever tried doing die cuts on your pockets? You know, like a edge of a die edge. I've seen people do it. I've just never been. I think it's because I feel like grabbing the die cut machine out and everything is just so futzy for when I'm making an album. I need to try that someday. I know that Scrap Queen does that frequently on her albums, and she does such a great job of it. So we are going to need to cut off on this. This is where this stops, so I need to cut about 1/2 inch off. All right, so a lot of times what I do is when I mark this, then I put this onto my cutter and I see where this dark line is. If I line up my piece with that dark line, it gives me usually enough of a cut on here. Watch, this is going to get messed up. It won't work because I said it will. But it gives me enough so that it gives me a little bit of a black border around. So that's something that in watching a lot of the I've watched a lot of tutorials that Scrap Queen has done, and she doesn't measure much. She primarily will put her paper down and mark it off and then cut it using that pencil mark. And I do have to say that I like it much better than trying to make a pencil mark. And the reason for that is because I feel like I'm just so much more accurate, but because I'm doing the videos, I'll do the measurements because I do the videos. So we're going to go and put this piece onto our pocket, and then we'll get this down onto our sheet, and sorry about that. And we're almost done with the pages. Just 2 more, and we are completely done with the pages, not with the decorating, but all right. So then we're going to take this page and let's put this down. And that looks so much prettier, that black against the blue. And I know I have a little bit off there, but that's perfectly okay. So we're going to take and I want to push this down, so got that tight going down onto there, and even on all sides. I think doing your album this way, use a little bit more paper, but again, if you hadn't heard me saying that, one of the things that I liked about it though was the fact that it made the pages feel sturdier, and I like that it has a thickness to it. Alright, and so then that's our page. Because again, I want to have some spots where I can put open pictures, and then I can put recipes or the like in the pocket. So we'll see, because this can end up, I could end up putting a frame on this page, or just putting the picture down. So I'm just going to go ahead and put this front page in. This glue bottle. Every time I get on camera, it doesn't want to, I think I'm running out of glue in this bottle. Thank goodness I don't need a ton of it to hold it down. Ugh, that's a mess. The only thing is that saying I don't need a ton of it, I don't, but the thing is that if you have only a little bit of the art glitter glue on the page, it then adheres pretty quickly, and you don't have a lot of time to move it. If you have a little bit more of it on there, it allows you to kind of slide it around a little bit more. Alrighty. So then we are coming to this part of our page. Let's put this in. It slides right in here. And there we go. So that's our spread there. And so we've got to just finish off our spread here and here. And I will be back with you to show you about what we're doing for the last couple pages. Hi crafters. Okay, so what we've got here is our next page, and what we're going to do with that, we've got our base page, and I cut out flaps for, these are 4x6 cards, and what I would like to do with that, I cut them so that there was a 1/4 inch around. So I cut this 6 1/4 by 4 1/4, but really because I needed the 1/2 inch for the flap, it was really 4 3/4. It's 4 1/4 across, but 4 3/4 this way. So what I'm planning on doing is, I think I'm going to put these tags down onto this page, and I match these across because the lines will work well going across and matching up with each other. And then I will put a magnet down into the middle of that tag, and then this will secure it down on the magnet back here. And what will happen is then that'll hold this flap down. I also have these other two tags that I'm going to put on the other side of this, and that will be our pages done, where we can journal or we can put recipes or other pictures. So let's go ahead and let's get our tabs down on here. I have to say, this is probably not my favorite paper from this collection, and I've seen them do this quite frequently with their collections, and Carta, if you're listening, I think you should stop doing these. I don't really like them because I don't feel like there's a lot of, there's not a lot you can do with them. I like that they're a bigger size, but I don't really like the tags themselves. I think they're kind of plain. Alright, so then we're going to put this other one onto here. And I want to make sure that when I do put this down that we match up those lines going across so that we look pretty even. I think I need some more glue. What do you think? Sorry for the tapping. You know, I even have one of those glue stands that I could put my bottle in, and I never do. But I like it on my desk because I love the black and white stripe. A little bit over on that, but that's okay. That will be just fine. So there we've got that, and that'll hold that down. But what I'm going to, and I did it this way because I wanted to have more of the green on top. So I'm going to put a magnet here before I put my before I put the card down. Or card, the page. Paper on that, so we'll, and I'll tell you that there is, you know, there's opportunities to close this other ways. If you don't like using magnets on your pages, then you are perfectly welcome to use another form of closure. You could use tape, you could use a tab. Actually, one thing that could be done on here is just to put a tab across here, and that would hold it down. I'm just doing this to make sure that it's staying down. Nothing's more frustrating to me than when I put a page into my book and what I thought was going to be just fine and stay down, and it doesn't. So it's kind of for security purposes for me. So I would encourage you that if you're going to do this page, you could probably do a tab on it and you would be just fine. Here, maybe I should have done that. And we're going to go ahead and put this into our book. making it just a really nice, simple page. And that's what I wanted to do towards the back of this book, because we've got so much going on into this book. All right, so let's, gonna put it around this way. And I do go back over my albums to make sure that my paper along the edges, if it needs to go down a little bit tighter. All right. And this is a great open spot for pictures, recipe cards, all kinds of things. We didn't leave too much open or too many spots open, so this will work really well. There we go. So this book is a full book, and doesn't necessarily have lay flat pages, but that's only because we're so full with this, like this page in here. But we still have, the thing that I want to show you is we still have a lot of room in here for adding items in here. So it still isn't at its maximum capacity. We still have quite a bit actually. And I'm going to finish off with this last page, and I will be back with you in just a few minutes. Okay, crafters, we're going to finish off, and I would do a back pocket here. This is 8 1/4 by 5 1/2, and the 1/2 inch is for going on the back of that piece of paper. I also cut this down, and I'm going to add this on here to add a little bit of interest to the back of it. Oh, I could do that even. I could change that up if I wanted to. But I think I'm going to leave it at the blue. So let's go ahead and get our glue for the back of this and get this down. And this is going to be somewhat of an open pocket style. And we can put things into this pocket rather than having it completely closed off. Oh, goodness gracious. Wish there was a bottle out there that just never clogged. I would be such a happy girl. I'm so tired of these clogging glue bottles. And I do put the pins back in, but there we are. That is down on the back, and then I'm going to go ahead. My desk is so full of items going from one project to another project, and then this is actually going to fit down onto here and have a little bit of a blue line in between to just give it a little bit of personality. Oh, shoot. God darn it. How frustrating. All right, where's my towel? Well, you can see my mistakes. Oh. There we go. So we're going to have that, and then again, this is our pocket in here, and we have our plain and pattern paper. I've got plain paper for the flap here. Get that on. And again, one of the things to remember is to never cut on the angle for your pocket. Looks like, there we go, I think that'll work. Again, dry fit, always dry fit. We are going to get that on our flap. Alrighty, and then the next item that we have is I have this piece of paper that will go down flat onto there. Ooh, is that bright, huh? You know, I love the color, but I didn't do it and use it anywhere in the book, really, on a page, I don't think, because it was just so bright that I was afraid it would just be too much of a shock. Ay. What not to do, right? Thank goodness for glue drying clear, because I sure need that with this album. Frustrated with myself. But this is how we learn. All right, so we've got that, and I will put some pattern paper in the middle of that. I did not get that cut and ready to go. And then we've got our top up there. I'm going to, I may even take and put a tag across here. Let's see, this doesn't look like it's sticking down properly. Okay. Alrighty, so that is our book. We have every page done. Now what we need to do is to go back and to finish decorating. And when we do that, you will see what I did with decorating for the walkthrough. And I will show you everything that I've done with the book, as well as the cover on our book, and any of our extra mats and tags and things like that will be done in the book as well. So thank you so much for spending all this time with me. I certainly appreciate it. I will see you in the walkthrough. Thank you. Bye.